Hello and welcome to Silverstone for the opening rounds of the Caterham Motorsport Championships. These are some of the most competitive series in the world, with some of the closest racing you're ever likely to witness. Expect plenty of fireworks this weekend on the always exciting Silverstone National Circuit. Coming up, we'll have action from the 420Rs, the fastest of the Caterhams with 210 brake horsepower, as well as the 270s and the 310s. First up though, it's the road sports. First race of the season then just moments away. Angelos Alvanos on the pole position with Will Rossetti alongside for this season opener. Andy Lees has got Tom Power alongside him on the second row of the grid. But before we go racing, let's catch up with the man on pole.
Put my head down, concentrated to get some tow from certain cars in front of me, and I was lucky to get a couple of clean laps, and that's how it was done.
Well, he'll be hoping for lots more clean laps now in this first race of the season. He starts from the outside of row one ahead of a 40-car field. It's great to see this championship so well supported once again in 2019, and the 29 season does now get underway. A good start made by Will Rossetti from the inside of row one. That is actually pole position. He will lead into Copse Corner, and I think that Andy Lees has gone with him into second place. So good start made by both of the blue and orange cars as this field of completely road legal 1600cc engined Caterham Road Sports cars pours endlessly through Copse Corner and makes its way towards Beckett's for the first time. We're on board with Alvanos, the pole sitter. He's down to third already. That in fourth position where he started is Tom Power, who's flicked the indicator on in his excitement in the first corner or so. It's sideways off Beckett's but gathers it together. Oh, one car on the grass further back though. That's Graham Doddridge, who rotates unfortunately, and another one off, possibly an avoidance there, was Craig Menzies. They will both rejoin, but they will be at the tail of the order. Down to Brooklands for the first time. Game on for the race lead here as the two Gulf liveried cars challenge for the race lead, but it will still be Rossetti ahead of Lees. A spin further back unfortunately for number 42. That's Ben Buckley, the third driver in strife early on. We haven't even completed the first lap, but a lot of these racing drivers making their first steps into motor racing. Some of them may well have done the academy last year, but a lot of drivers see the Caterham Road Sports Championship as their entry point into motorsport. So you can see a lot of novice crosses on the back of the cars. They are drivers who are making their first steps into the world of motor racing. It's therefore to be expected that one or two of them may make a few mistakes early on in the race, but look at this, they're getting stuck straight in to some marvellous racing. 2 and 3 abreast through Copse Corner. Number 78 on the inside is Guy Berryman, who by virtue of going into Copse on a tight line is a bit slow off the turn, and already after one lap we've got a couple missing their wings, particularly on the rear wheels after maybe one or two bits of early contact. Right, Angelos Alvanos back into second place now, so he's back ahead of Andy Lees as they exit Beckett's once more. Some adventurous lines being taken by one or two further back, right over the curbs through that tight right-hander. Few registration plates hanging loose as well. It's been a robust opening lap of the season here at Silverstone, and we don't expect that to really change much as we go through the rest of this race. Back on board with Alvanos, and ahead of him now is Tom Power, so it's all changed again down the back straight. Look, Tom Power is into second place now, Alvanos third, and then side by side for fourth. Andy Lees has been demoted to fifth place. He's trying to get fourth position away from Stuart Bell in the orange number 19 car. Up through the gears they go, and the car we're on board with is Andy Lees. He's got the inside line through Woodcote Corner. We'll hopefully be able to hold on to that inside line down towards Copse, but there's another car going to the inside of him, so now Andy finds himself pinched in the middle. How's this one going to sort itself out? The car on the inside line I think is going to go through. That may well have been Lars Hoffmann, in which case the runner-up from the Academy Championship last year, which is the true entry level into Caterham racing, is doing well. Started 12th and looks to be well inside the top 10 now. Weaving this way and that down the run towards Beckett's Corner, trying to break the toe or make the move stick under braking. Speaking of breaking the toe, it looks as though Will Rossetti is starting to get away from the cars behind. It's almost impossible to break away in a Caterham race. The only chance you've really got of doing it is if the cars fighting for second place start tripping over each other. That is kind of what's happening here. Will Rossetti with a bit of a gap now over Tom Power and Angelos Alvanos fighting for second, and then it's almost 3 wide for third. That is the 70 car of Hoffmann that's joining in the fun now. The white car up into fifth position remarkably. And there is the ever-extending margin now between Will Rossetti, the race leader, and Tom Power now into second place. Alvanos is third, and Andy Lees heads the next group of cars in fourth position. So he's recovered some way after an eventful opening half of the race. And it's not going to get any quieter now because Lars Hoffmann is back up the inside of him at Copse Corner. Lars has got the preferred inside line. He's got his nose in front, but the momentum is with Lees on the outside line, and Andy fights straight back on the dirty side of the road. That was brave stuff, and he has now gone back ahead. And in fact, Hoffmann may have lost some momentum there, and he's now under pressure from the two cars behind him. There's the race leader then, Will Rossetti pulling away now quite comprehensively from this 7-car fight for second place. Andy Lees has fought back into third place now and is starting to challenge Tom Powell, with Alvarez now off the podium places for the time being. Ooh, bit of contact maybe in a straight line there. Andy Lees' car weaving from left to right, and diving up the inside of him is the number 84 machine, and that is Andrew Murgatroyd, who has sort of popped up out of nowhere, the blue and yellow car. There's the 70 of Lars Hoffman, he's still in play. In fact, he's going to dive up the inside of Alvarez here through Luffield, as Angelos just left a bit of room, and in fact he was up the inside of Murgatroyd, so there were 3 abreast there briefly as they went through the middle portion of that long tight right-hander at Luffield. 22 car there is Angelos Alvarez on the outside line. He may be about to lose a few more positions, so too may the number 13 here of David Thornton. He too is on the outside line, this time going through Luffield. Alan Thickett trying to take advantage of that, and he, I think, will go through. He's got the tighter line through Woodcote, which is easily flat out in these cars, but it is still the shorter way round, and actually the momentum's still with Thornton on the outside line, and he will actually hang on by the looks of it. Oh, that was brave stuff. Tom Power right over the curb through the left-hand kink at Maggots, just under braking for Beckett's corner. Lees back into second now. Alvarez going for third, and Tom Power, I think that use of the curb into Maggots maybe unsettled him slightly, because he wasn't that quick off Beckett. He's got no slipstream at the moment either. He's down the left-hand side of the road all on his own. Andy Lees moves over to cover just in case. Alvarez in there, so too is Murgatroyd, but it will be Lees that comes through into second position. And number 37, that's Tom Brown, who was very, very wide going through Brooklands. He was trying desperately to find a bit of clean air. He didn't gain quite as many positions as I thought he might, but I think he has still passed 2 or 3 of them there under braking for Brooklands. He's ahead now of Lars Hoffman, for example, who certainly was behind when they went onto the Wellington Straight. Tom Power on the outside line there, rear wing flapping in the wind. But these cars really, I think, now destined to finish from second on back. I don't think they're going to catch the race leader, Will Rossetti, at this rate. Will is really pulling away, and once you do break the slipstream in this sort of racing, it's hard for the rest of them to catch you, especially when they're so busy changing positions themselves. Alvarez is now back into second place. Andy Lee's trying to fend off. Oh, Tom Power, and that was a little bit forceful there. A bit of wheel banging under braking into Beckett, and Power may have lost a bit of speed there. Murgatroyd goes to the outside of him. Andy Lee's fighting the wheel as he gets on the throttle coming out of Beckett. He's had a good run though, and pulls to the right hand side of the road, trying to get back alongside Angelos Alvarez as they go under the bridge. Now his nose is in front, but there's another car joining in behind, and that's Tom Power fighting back, 3 abreast for second place into Brooklands corner. The high, wide and handsome line for Andy Lees. It will not work as he runs out of road, goes out onto the grass and spins. Andy Lees, well, he was looking a little erratic for the previous couple of corners as he desperately tried to keep his position in line, and unfortunately has a spin at Brooklands, and that will drop him way down the order. So Alvarez now second, Murgatroyd third, and Tom Power still somehow in fourth place after all of that. The number 74 car is Alan Ventus. He's the blue car now at the tail of what is a slightly shorter queue of cars fighting for second. Oh, another spin there. That's Alan Thickett that's gone around down at Brooklands, but he selects first gear, carries on. No obvious damage to the car, so he should be able to continue on his way. Now this is a replay of what happened to Andy Lees earlier on. He was so late on the brakes, just couldn't get the car turned in. And once he hits the grass, he's got no grip, the car bounces around and points the wrong way and briefly stalled it. You can see that was quick thinking there. The car was still rolling backwards whilst he was back on the ignition button to get the car fired back up again. Right into the closing stages of the race now, down towards Brooklands. They're 4 abreast, and right round the outside goes Lars Hoffman. I think he's in second place now. Murgatroyd and Power side by side for third, with, by the looks of it, Alvarez behind them. Through the left-hander at Brooklands, this is Andy Lees, who's involved in the next pack of cars all fighting each other. Oh no, he's off again. Andy Lees' race going from bad to worse, and he is, I think, a little frustrated with himself, because this time he knows that he's beached and he will not rejoin from the gravel trap at Luffield. And well, he's had an eventful race and there are plenty of stories to tell. This is what happened, and again, really just trying to find some clean air. Went to the outside line, but there's no grip out there. That's where all the dirt and the dust and the marbles get thrown offline, and as soon as he was on the grass, he knew his race was over. There was nowhere else he was going to end up there other than the gravel trap. Right, back with this second place battle, which is getting very congested because the red flag has been thrown. There are a couple of cars, I think, now stranded in precarious spots around the circuit, and so the race ends a little early. Will Rossetti, though, won't mind at all. He built up a 7.4 second lead to take a comfortable victory from Murgatroyd second and pole sitter Angelos Alvarez in third place. Lars Hoffman fourth on his debut, with Tom Power rounding out the top 5.
Come on, cheers!
It was relatively straightforward in the end. You know, great start, and then
managed to pull away from the others as they were in their own battle. And then, the end of the race, it was just picking through the debris. In my brain, I was thinking, please don't be a safety car. Please don't be a safety car. But, then the red flag came out and I'm like, are we done? Have I won? But yeah, really happy, obviously.
Silverstone, the home of British motorsport, welcomes us for the opening rounds of the 2019 Motul Caterham 7 270R Championship on the short Silverstone National Circuit. We're expecting lots and lots of action. Who will come out on top then in the first race of the season? Well, that, quite frankly, is anybody's guess. In qualifying, it was Tom Allen who topped the tree with the fastest lap time. He therefore starts on pole. Sam Jefferson is alongside him in car number 13. And heading up the second row of the grid will be Daniel French, who was the runner-up in last year's Road Sports Championship, making the step up to the 270Rs for 2019. Green flag then waves at the back of the grid. We're about to go racing in 2019. The field full of 270Rs about to launch off the start-finish line, which they do now. Everybody is away with varying degrees of speed, but they are all off the line and charging into Copse Corner. The yellow car on the inside line, Matt Shepherd, tries to get the lead away from pole sitter Tom Allen, is unsuccessful in doing so though, and Allen will lead them out of Copse Corner. I guarantee though he will not lead from lights to flag. Very rarely does that happen in any form of Caterham racing, and already we've got the first significant challenge for the race lead as Matt Shepherd from fourth on the grid is into second already. A few lockups further back. Let's hope they all get through Beckett's for the first time in one piece. Tom Allen leads them onto the Wellington straight where the slipstream really starts to take effect now. One car on the grass at the back already with a trademark Caterham wing hanging loose. For the race lead, we are side by side with Matt Shepherd to the outside of Tom Allen. Still can't find a way through though, and Daniel French now, the blue and yellow car, trying to get up the inside of him. Almost a bit of contact further back, which involved Chris Moore in the number 11 car. But remarkably, I think Tom Allen might be about to lead an entire lap of a Caterham race here at Silverstone. He almost hands the first position away by running wide through Luffield. Gets back to the inside on the exit of the corner though, and Tom Allen, the red and black number 17 car that qualified on pole position by all of about 4/100ths of a second, is going to lead the first lap by about 4/100ths of a second. But he might not lead into Copse Corner for the second time because Matt Shepherd on the inside line has finally drafted his way through and is unlikely to be able to clear off at the head of the pack. There is Aaron Dalrymple, or there was Aaron Dalrymple. He now spins right in front of the pack. Miraculously, I think everyone will avoid him, but that was a heart-stopping moment there for Aaron, who had started mid-grid. Unfortunately, is at the back of the field now as we go down towards Beckett's once again. On-board camera here then as we make our way down the Wellington straight, and this is James Murphy in the lead group, trying to work his way into a podium position. The blue car in front of us is Daniel French, and he might be able to get into the race lead here because there is a gap on the inside of both Matt Shepherd and Tom Allen, and Daniel French takes over the race lead. So that's our third different leader, I think, already way wide in the background and all out of shape on the dirty side of the road. Who is that? Car number 6, Justin Heap, I think. Yes, it is. Who somehow finds himself a gap back in traffic. There are quite a few wayward lines being taken through this final complex of corners, but not by the race leader because Daniel French is out in front in his first ever 270R race. This is fairly impressive stuff. There's the number 13 car going through as well. Replay here though, on board at the start with James Murphy, who gets a good launch. It wasn't a good start for Sam Jefferson, was it? I was about to mention Sam and how he seemed to have dropped down the order in the early laps. That is why. Didn't get off the line well. James Murphy, one of several drivers to take advantage. The blue and green number 13 car of Jefferson, though, is now back with the lead group again. Guess what? The leaders are side by side underneath the bridge down the Wellington straight, on board with Matt Shepherd here to the outside line. Tom Allen on the inside line. Everyone else sort of 3 and 4 abreast behind them. Who comes out of the corner in front? Still the red car of Allen, I think, and very wide there for Matt Shepherd. That was too wide. He was trying to hang on for the inside at Luffield but ended up almost on the grass, and so that man Sam Jefferson, who I'd just been mentioning was starting to pick his way towards the front, is into second place now, side by side almost for third, but Daniel French will hang on. Then it's Shepherd side by side with Justin Heap, who only a lap ago looked like he was off the road down at Brooklands, and now he's into the 4th position. Back on board with the yellow machine of Matt Shepherd. Another position lost there, unfortunately. That's Graham McDonald, who, along with Daniel French, has made the step up from the road sports last year. Graham was 3rd in the championship. Bit of wheel banging and a wave of apology there, I think, from James Murphy in the black and orange number 3 DPR Motorsport car. Well, 4 abreast this time. I think that's the first time we've seen that today down at Beckett's, and up the inside line is Justin Heap, almost into the race lead. There's contact there, I think, with Tom Allen. It's all getting very aggressive now as the drivers get into the middle portion of the race, realising just how important it is to try and buy yourself some good track position for the final few laps. Daniel French looking to the inside of Tom Allen, who somehow, thus far at least, is fending them all off. To the outside goes Graham McDonald. Graham McDonald, the Scottish driver, almost in the race lead. Surely they won't all get through without contact. I think they might, you know. We're on board with Daniel French, who is second-ish. Yes, he is second place as they go into Luffield again. This is phenomenal racing. But Tom Allen, through it all, seems to be the man who more consistently than anybody else, at least, can stay at the head of this mighty pack of Caterham 270Rs, which is growing by the lap. There's a wing missing on the number 5 car of Gregory Monks, but that won't be slowing him down too much. Certainly doesn't seem to be. He's still with this pack of cars at the front. Side by side for the lead again. Daniel French to the outside line. The number 6 car of Justin Heap tried to get to the inside. Graham McDonald is just looking for a clean bit of track, really. He doesn't care where that is. They're going to be 4 abreast again, I think, aren't they, when they reappear into shot very nearly. But Daniel French out in front, and Tom Allen in danger of going down to 3rd place, but has the inside line and almost retaliates for the race lead. He spins. Tom Allen spins. Oh, what a shame for Tom. He gets collected by somebody, I think that may well have been Daniel Halstead, but Tom Allen, that was the commentator's curse, wasn't it? I just said that he looked fairly comfortable out in front, and then this happened. He gets on the curb, he gets sideways, and I think in trying to avoid clattering into the side of the race leader, Daniel French, he over-rotates the car, and Tom actually did a really good job there to avoid causing an accident in front of everybody. Unfortunately, beached in the gravel trap is Darren Hallcroft. The number 75 car is going nowhere. That is well and truly beached coming out of Luffield corner. Now down towards Brooklands, and that is Johnny Jarrett, number 21 machine. These are some of the fights going on just outside the top 10 at the moment, and Johnny missing a fairly vital aerodynamic piece of bodywork at the front, the radiator all exposed, and there is damage to the back of the number 42 car behind him of Ian Fortescue. I wonder whether or not they are linked. Up the inside is going now James Murphy for the race lead. Oh, and well, I think the hand came out of the cockpit. Possibly there are yellow flags. Yes, there are. There are yellow flags because there's debris all over the road. And we know at this corner there was a car that was off in the gravel trap, that of Darren Hallcroft not that long ago. But how on earth do you sort this one out when you come into a yellow flag zone? Because there are overtakes being attempted all over the place, and trying to figure out amongst yourselves who was where as you went into the yellow flag zone is almost impossible. The drivers, though, all did the right thing. They slowed down. They tried to avoid overtaking under yellow flags, for which you will receive a penalty if you do so. I think they all got away with it. There are bits of Caterham flying in the air, though, as they go towards Copse Corner again. And Matt Shepherd there, the number 80 car, down into about 4th or 5th place now. He was leading not that long ago. Look at this. This looks like the opening lap of the race. And actually, we're getting towards the closing stages. And that is Daniel Halstead, the white and red number 36 car, trying to now buy into the lead battle. He's got a really good exit from Beckett's corner. He's the car to the right-hand side of the shop. We're on board with Matt Shepherd, who is trying to chase down Justin Heap, who's got a rear wing hanging loose as well. How is this one all going to sort out? Well, Justin's got a mega run on the race leader, goes to the outside line into Beckett's corner. That's James Murphy. He's trying to get past and will get past. Daniel Halstead goes to the outside line as well. Just about avoiding too much wheel banging. Number 5 is Gregory Monks, who is trying to get 4th place away from Matt Shepherd here. We are now getting into the closing stages of what has been a sensational opening race of the season. We always knew the Silverstone National Circuit would produce this sort of racing, but right from the word go, Motul Caterham 7 270R Championship providing some great entertainment wherever you are in the order. That's James Gilmore, the orange number 10 car, trying to gain some positions well outside the top 10, but they're having just as much fun as if they were fighting for the race lead. The Number 8 car, I think, of John Isherwood was the man who just lost a position in that instance. Then it's the 23 of Andy Morgan behind, the black and blue car. As you can see, registration plates on many of these cars. These are road legal, would you believe, and some drivers do bring their cars to the track. They drive them to the track and then drive them on the track and then drive them home, as long as they've got a car left, which so far most of the field does. There's still a bit more racing to be done. Back on board with Matt Shepherd in the tow again, 3 abreast of the race lead, and that's Halstead now going round the outside, but can he get the car stopped? No, he can't. Daniel Halstead, well, he led for all of about a second and a half before getting onto the dirty side of the road and unfortunately spinning it all away, and the hand went up in exasperation, I think, more than anything else. Daniel French had a grandstand view of it. There were 3 wide. He was so late on the brakes though, locks the rears, gets on the dirty side of the track, and really there was only one outcome then, and he was lucky not to hit anybody or anything and get back going again. Unfortunately though, as we go on to the final lap, Halstead will not be part of the fight for the race lead, but many other drivers are. We've got 3 more corners to go, but before them all is this long drag down the Wellington Straight, which may well be where the race is decided. Up in front of us it looks as though it might be Justin Heap that's got the lead, but Matt Shepherd going to the outside. To the inside line goes the number 3 car of James Murphy. To the outside 4 abreast goes Daniel French. Can Daniel sweep across? No, he can't. They're 3 abreast for the lead. They all fan out wide, and Justin Heap in the grey number 6 car gets back alongside. I don't think he'll go around the outside of James Murphy, but James is trying to fend them all off. Matt Shepherd up the inside, 2 wheels on the grass. They will be 3 by 3 as they come out of Luffield corner. Justin Heap backs out of it, but then gets a mega slingshot to the checkered flag. Get the camera ready. It's going to be a photo finish between at least 3 drivers. Too close to call at the line. The timing says that Matt Shepherd got it by 1/100th of a second. What a race that was. Matt Shepherd with the victory, Justin Heap second and James Murphy third, but the top 7 covered by less than a second at the flag.
It was absolutely crazy. It's like every corner the order was changing, and yeah, it was amazing to actually still be at the front at the end of it.
Struggled for traction a little bit out of Luffield, and then it was 3 abreast, but Matt got a good slipstream off the back of James and went firing through and beat me by, I don't know, a metre or a foot, something like that.
Next up, it's the 165 brake horsepower Caterham 310s, a mammoth 39 car field about to go racing for the first time in 2019. Well, the fans eagerly anticipating this first race of the season, and Jay McCormack is the man who has scored the first pole position of the year. Will he be able to stay there at the front of the field through the race? Well, he will have some hard chargers around him. Andrew Perry in the number 11 car starting alongside him on the front row of the grid, and they're both just in front of third place man Lee Bristow, the 2017 champ, will be desperate to try and start his 2019 campaign with a race victory. But before we go racing, let's catch up with our pole sitter, Jay McCormack.
Yeah, fantastic. I've stuck it on pole for this race, so racing with lots of new people this year. It's interesting to see how everything weighs out, because it's a big egos coming in and lots of people wanting to win the championship, but you know, I'll be going for it. I won't be taking any prisoners.
That's just what we wanted to hear from Jay McCormack then, who starts on the right of our screen. The blue car with the red stripe is the pole sitter, but in qualifying he was less than half a tenth quicker than Andrew Perry, who will start alongside him. That's Matt Topham, who lines up 5th. We'll be keeping an eye on all of the action from his onboard camera. The race is about to get underway, and it does so now. The first race of the Caterham 7 310R Championship bursts into life here on the Silverstone National Circuit, and Matt Topham has not had a brilliant start, diving up the inside of him there. A couple of cars I think have gone through on the run into the first corner. But with the slipstream effect that we regularly see in Caterham racing, especially here at Silverstone, he should be able to make further progress. It's wheel to wheel for the race lead though. Jay McCormack, I think, has the inside line at Beckett, and trying to go around the outside in the black and red car was Andrew Perry. Matt Topham is sideways as he challenges the red car of Nathan Bell, and alongside him the yellow number 77 is Gordon Sawyer, who started 6th. So already lots of shuffling throughout the order, and someone getting a real slipstream down the inside of everybody there towards the Brooklands complex for the opening time. It looks like Andrew Perry has got the lead away as we come towards the conclusion of the opening lap. But these are 30-minute races, and with so many opportunities to overtake around here, the order will change by the corner, let alone by the lap, particularly in the early exchanges. But it is the 11 car that leads them out of Luffield through Woodcote for the first time of asking. Wheel-to-wheel action will be the order of the day. That's the 48 car of Tom Grensinger trying to get up the inside of our other onboard camera. Now this is Lee Bristow. Lee Bristow, the former champ, who started 3rd, has rather gone backwards here in the opening stages, but he is an experienced Caterham campaigner and knows what it takes to pick his way back up the order. We've seen many Lee Bristow charges over the years. This looks like it may have to be another one. 2 and 3 abreast through Maggott and Beckett. It looks like the first lap of the race all over again. The Silverstone National Circuit, essentially 3 straights with hairpins at the end of them, meaning there are plenty of chances to run side by side and to execute overtaking opportunities as well. In the drivers will weave this way and that to try and break the toe down the Wellington straight. We've got the inside of Matt Topham. There is somebody trying to take the place away at Brooklands, and instead he goes right around the outside and tries to overtake the 71 car of Alan Cooper, the man who was 5th in the championship last year. Alan Cooper is currently running 4th in the race but runs wide, and Matt Topham goes up the inside. In fact, that is for 5th position. The car's so closely bunched together that what looks like one car could be 2 or 3 running absolutely nose to tail. There is the black and orange car of Matt Topham. He's still up the inside of Alan Cooper in the grey 71 car, and that provides a double slipstream for the group of cars behind to take advantage of. So they may well be 3 wide at Copse Corner. It's almost 3 wide for the race lead. I think now it might be Donald Henshaw who's got the lead away. There was Andrew Perry, the black number 11 car, who was leading a lap ago. He's now down into 3rd position. 4th position, make that. As they are now 3 abreast for the race lead, and this is such good stuff. Big lock up there though for Andrew Perry. He needs to be careful not to flat spot the tyres. It'll be like driving around on a set of 50p pieces if he does that, and there's still a long way to go in this race. Tyre wear is not a particular concern in these cars, especially at this circuit, but if you over-aggravate them like that in the early stages, you will run out of grip before the end of the race. Ducking and diving again down the back straight through Brooklands. Hard to know where to look here, isn't it? Side-by-side racing right the way through. There's the 79 car going up the inside. There was almost a bit of wheel banging there between Gordon Sawyer and Nathan Bell, who was trying to execute the move up the inside line at Brooklands, but that puts him on the outside at Luffield, and what looked like may have been a positional gain actually ends up being a loss of ground through the next couple of corners. NASCAR style in Caterham racing here at Silverstone, if you end up offline, if you go for a move and it doesn't work, then you're liable to lose several positions, because look at how many cars are still in this lead pack. Copse Corner, and it is now Donald Henshaw out in front of the pole sitter Jay McCormack in 2nd place, and Gordon Sawyer, the yellow machine, is in 3rd position. As the top, what's that, dozen cars more or less, you could throw a very small blanket over the lot of them. But the lead change, yes, round the outside goes Jay McCormack, so he was 3rd at the line, and he now leads less than half a lap later. There is Andrew Perry, who has also had a stint out in front. Our on-board man, Matt Topham, also making good progress there. The black and orange car through into 4th place. We're on board with Matt now. Didn't get a great exit from Beckett's, though, and so he's under pressure again as they go down towards the braking zone at the end of the Wellington straight. Who will lead this time around into the braking zone? Still going to be the 25 car, but look at that, steaming around the outside of everybody is Harry Senior, who I don't think was even in the top 5 when they went on to the back straight, and now he is the nearest challenger to the race leader. Back through Luffield, checking on some of the battles just a bit further down this lead order. David Yates there was the number 15 car, and even further back they are still racing as if it were for the race lead. That's the 22 car losing a few spots. That's Gary Curtis on the outside line. Number 4, one of the cars that went through, that was John Styring. Wherever you are though in a Caterham field, it's likely you'll have somebody to play with. That is certainly the case here in the opening race of the Santander Caterham 7 310R Championship. Through Luffield, through Woodcote, the slingshot move working well there for John Styring as he goes up the inside of Andrew Hughes, the green machine. But guess what? They're going to be 3 abreast again at Copse Corner. They're almost 3 abreast for the race lead at Beckett's, and I think this time around Gordon Sawyer might have got himself in front. I think there are more and more cars joining in this group though every single lap. This is turning into a titanic battle for the top 10 or 12 positions or so. Side by side again down to Brooklands. I think it's more notable if they're not side by side for the lead at this part of the circuit. At the inside of everybody is coming Jay McCormack, but he will not lead. It will be Lee Bristow. Finally gets himself to the front. I was wondering when Lee Bristow would make an appearance in the podium positions, and he has done now for I think the first time all race, and it was when he made the move for the race lead. There is Alan Cooper. Not that long ago he was fighting for the race lead, and now he's in danger of falling outside of the top 10 if he hasn't done already. 48 now, one of the cars we haven't mentioned yet. That's Tom Grensinger from 12th on the grid. But with the racing as close as it is in this championship, particularly at this circuit, qualifying is almost irrelevant. Of course, you want to be at the front of the grid, if nothing else, just to send out the message to your fellow competitors that you have the pace this weekend. But as we can see, you can quite easily move your way up the order from a lowly grid position. Guess what? They're 3 abreast again, and Lee Bristow, who led about 10 seconds ago, is in danger of going down to 4th. There's one car on the grass further back and rejoining the track, thankfully avoiding everybody. Didn't quite catch the number on that car, but they will have detached themselves now slightly from this lead train of cars, who are actually single file for the time being. Tim Child, though, unfortunately, his race may well be over. Oh, and Matt Topham off as well. Now, is that related, I wonder? I think that's down at Brooklands. We're on board with Topham. We turn in, there's a clout, and is that Tim Child? No, it wasn't Tim Child, was it? That's somebody else that's got into the side of Matt Topham. That was, I think, the 21 car of Harry Landy. It was unfortunate there for those two, ending up tangling down at Brooklands. but they should hopefully both be able to continue on their way. Now, this is the lead battle. Remarkably, we're about to go on to the final lap of the race, and there are still a good 6 or 7 cars that could win it. Rally crossing further back there is James Beardwell, so he may not be in the conversation for a podium position, but in 1 lap's time we will know who the victor of this opening race of the season will be. At the moment it's Gordon Sawyer, the yellow car that leads, but Lee Bristow challenging to the outside at Copse Corner, looking for that slingshot on the exit of the turn. Has he got it? He's got a good exit, he's up the inside, and Lee Bristow, who finished 4th in the championship last year, looking for the race victory, but Gordon Sawyer says not on your life and gets back in front before they hit the braking zone at Beckett. So Lee Bristow will now have to try and get the slingshot down the Wellington Straight. But do you want to be leading onto the Wellington Straight on the final lap? Well, we're about to find out. Gordon Sawyer is punching the hole in the air. Lee Bristow closing all the time. Pulls to the right-hand side. Can he clear the yellow machine before they hit the brakes down at Brooklands? And what can the pole sitter Jay McCormack do? He goes to the inside of both of them. There's no way through, though. And Gordon Sawyer, for now, hanging on. Bristow and McCormack will be side by side for second into Luffield. McCormack decides not to go around the outside. Instead, tries to find a gap on the inside, which he will do. And so Jay McCormack into second, but I don't think he has time to chase down the race leader. Gordon Sawyer, with a marvellous defensive drive on the final few laps of the race, is going to come through and take the first checkered flag of the season. A brilliant performance for Gordon Sawyer. He is your first winner of 2019, for the man who was runner-up in the championship last year. That is the perfect start to the season. Sawyer takes the victory then from McCormack, Bristow, Henschel and Andrew Perry, the top 5, for the top 10 or so, nose to tail at the flag.
Yeah, it's great. I'm so pleased. I had a terrible start and I dropped back to about 15, something like that. Worked my way back forward, and I should have won the race. I miscalculated the final lap, and I should have gone for the lead. But hey ho, next time.
Yeah, great result. Second place. Started on pole. It was intense. Every second of that race was just fight. But it was really good. Really enjoyed it. Coming home with second and with Gordon. Both of us are Irish, so we're just getting the races in before we get thrown out of the country.
Yeah, brilliant race to open the season. Good close battles. It was like the last race of the season, to be honest. Everyone was going for it. I was absolutely flat out all the time. Going down the last straight, me and Lee were side by side, but I don't think he realised it was last lap because I outbraked him quite easily. So lucky for me.
Now it's time for the mighty 420Rs, the most powerful cars here this weekend. It's a welcome return to the Caterham paddock this year for 6-time Olympic champion Sir Chris Hoy.
Chris, it's really lovely to see you here again for another championship. Why come back to the Caterham?
Yeah, it's the complete opposite end of the spectrum to racing at Le Mans. But the reason I do it is pure and simple. It's fun. It's so much fun. The cars are, it's a level playing field. It's not checkbook racing. It's not about how much money you've got. It's about how much talent you've got. So you can actually see where you lie in the rankings, and you know that's down to your driving and your racecraft. So it's a huge amount of fun. There's a great camaraderie as well. It's just a nice feel to the grid. So I enjoy racing the Caterhams, and I'm glad to be back again.
New for this year is an updated qualifying format with a top 10 Super Pole shootout to decide the top 5 rows of the grid. Henry Heaton was fastest in the traditional qualifying session, but it was John Byrne who took the eventual pole position.
To be fair, it actually kind of suits the way I drive, because I've never been a very technical driver into the qualifying. It's all about getting the right toe to get the perfect lap, and I've always preferred just one lap on my own, no one around me. And so it worked that way today, so I was very, very happy.
Well, let's see how John Byrne gets on then. As from the outside of row 1, that is where pole position is. We're on board with the pole sitter, looking back at the second row behind Aaron Head and William Smith. The green flag waved at the back of the field, and very shortly 24 mighty Caterham 420Rs will launch off the line and into action for 2019. Away we go. The pole sitter away well from the outside of the grid. John Byrne, I think, will hold on to the lead into Copse Corner. Yes, he will. And we look back at his fellow front row starter Timothy Dickens, the black number 44 car that slots through into second position. Through Copse Corner for the first time. Cold tyres for everybody on this opening lap, and it's already caught somebody out potentially. That's the 45 car of Chris Bates having a rotation. This season not starting out in great fashion. Through Beckett we go. The leaders through cleanly. A spin further back though, and that's Rob Watts that's gone around this time. So 2 corners, 2 spinners. A slightly scrappy start to the race for a couple of the drivers in the midfield, but John Byrne weaving to try and break the toe down the Wellington straight. Dickens going with him, and here comes William Smith into 3rd position, trying to challenge for 2nd under braking there. Don't think he made it stick though. No, the orange machine still 3rd. Then it's the 19 of Aaron Head, the black and pink car, with Henry Heaton, the blue machine, slotting into 5th position. And then it's car number 5, David Henderson. So those two have swapped from where they started. We're on board with David now, in the tow through Woodcote, across the start-finish line to complete the first lap. And he's looking to the inside of Henry Heaton, who in turn is looking to the inside of Aaron Head. And it's Heaton that will make the move. No, he won't. Head is late enough on the brakes, actually, with the slightly faster, wider line into the corner, who actually hangs on. So a fairly calm opening lap for the leaders. Will it remain this calm for the rest of the race? More than likely not. The slipstream here at Silverstone will keep them all right on top of each other. But in a 30-minute race, you can sort of afford to mind your P's and Q's here in the opening laps, because everyone will be so close together right the way down to the flag. It's only really in the last 5 or 10 minutes when you need to start making your decisive moves. Get a glimpse there of the 55 car of Russ Olivan, regular front runner across the various Caterham categories. Side by side for 2nd though, and here is the move maybe for William Smith. No, he still can't depose Tim Dickens of his 2nd position. Further back, side-by-side action again there. That's Henry Heaton, number 92, joining in the fun as well. That's Jamie Falvey. And Jamie Falvey is the reigning 270R champion, making the step up into the more powerful 420Rs. This the most powerful category of Caterham racing on the package. It's Jamie Falvey making good progress up the Caterham racing ladder. David Henderson making good progress up the field. He's into 5th position, but they're 3 abreast for the race lead. And I think William Smith in the orange machine has got himself ahead, and it may be that early race leader John Byrne could find himself off the podium if he's not too careful. No, he fights back into 2nd and immediately goes back on the inside of Smith. So it's game on now. They had 2 laps of single file running, and now they've got some heat into the tyres on these semi-slick Avon tyres. They are now starting to really push on down the Wellington straight again, and once more David Henderson pulling out of the slipstream. But once you pull out of the tow, if you don't then pick up another slipstream from another car in front of you, it's like hitting a solid brick wall, and your car just goes absolutely nowhere. You've got to time that run correctly. That's what John Byrne has done. Look to get the lead back away here from William Smith. So from 1st to 4th to 1st again within less than a lap for the pole-sitting driver John Byrne, who in Super Pole went 3/10 quicker than anybody else. But it was actually Henry Heaton that was quickest in the initial qualifying session. And then without the draft, different drivers starting to make their way to the front. John Byrne actually said that he doesn't particularly enjoy or isn't particularly strong with the slipstreaming style of qualifying you usually see in this championship. So he really did enjoy that opportunity to go it alone in Super Pole on board with Chris Hoy then, and he's just slightly off the tail of that leading group of cars. But Chris is a quick driver. He's had a few one-off appearances in Caterham racing. He's raced some radicals over the years as well, and the 11-time world champion in cycling is now making further steps into his motor racing career. Always been a fan of the sport and pretty handy at it as well. If these leaders keep falling over each other, I wouldn't be at all surprised to see Chris Hoy joining in the second half of the race. David Henderson we're on board with. He's up into 3rd position now. John Byrne leading the way, and Aaron Head appears to have got into 2nd position now. Luffield again, wide line being taken there by the 23 of Justin Armstrong. He is the man bringing up the rear of what is a 2, 4, 6, 8, 9 car train of leaders. Henry Heaton, the blue car, another fairly experienced Caterham racer these days. He's in 5th position across the line. With these more powerful cars, the slipstream maybe has a slightly smaller effect than we see in maybe the 270 or the 310R championships, but the more powerful the cars get, maybe the less dependent they are on that slipstreaming, but it is still a factor as keeping them all right together. Down into Beckett's again. Henderson in 3rd, looking for 2nd, but Aaron Head in front of him is looking for the race lead. Carried a bit more speed off the turn. Doesn't really actually carry that speed down the straight, and it is Henderson who's quick, but look at that, pulls out of the toe and goes nowhere. There's a bit windy here as well at Silverstone, and maybe there's a headwind down that back straight, and that will be exaggerating that phenomenon. It's not slowing down. Aaron Head though, who gets to the race lead for the first time, and following him through there, that was Henderson I think, wasn't it, going through as well? Yes, David Henderson into 2nd position now, the red and black car. So John Byrne down into the 3rd position. Won't be too worried about that just yet, though. There is a long way to go in this first race of the season, but all of these drivers will be considering themselves as championship contenders this year. Bit of book drafting, why not? This is very, very similar to the sort of NASCAR-style racing we see over in America. Book drafting a part of their championship racing. The same here in Caterham, and it's John Byrne that took advantage of that to slingshot right back into the race lead. But is he a bit slow off the corner? Yes, he is. And so here comes Aaron Head. Locking up on the inside, though, was Aaron Head. And so actually, he has to bail out of the potential overtaking manoeuvre. Careful not to run out over to that curve on the exit of Beckett's corner, down the Wellington straight. They hug the white line to the left-hand side of the road. To the outside goes Aaron Head, and David Henderson doesn't know where to go. Thought briefly about going up the middle, but that opportunity was taken away from him by Aaron Head, who moves smoothly to the left-hand side of the road to take over the race lead. Off the road, unfortunately, is Douglas Thane in the number 73 car. And I'm not sure if that's a spin or if that's a mechanical drama, because he's pulled off to the side of the road up against the barriers and appears to be out of the race. And maybe some mechanical dramas there for Doug. Lead us back across the start-finish line, then fanning out 2 and 3 wide. Chris Hoy is now on the tail of this group. You can see his black and green car with the Hoy markings across the rear of it. So he is now in probably about 12th place or so, but within sight of the race leaders. Overcast skies here at Silverstone. The circuit is more or less dry, though. That's what's allowed them to really start to push on now as we get into the middle portion of the race. Through Beckett's, there's the 92 car we saw there of Jamie Falvey, who is enjoying his first 420R racing experience. Number 7, also part of it, and that is Chris Hoy. Chris Hoy, we're on board now with the Scotsman as he heads underneath the bridge. In front of him, there is an absolutely phenomenal battle for the race lead going on, and he wants to be a part of it. He's never won a Caterham race in the past as Chris. He's had top 10 finishes before. Could he get into the top 5 maybe this weekend at Silverstone? Certainly seems to have the pace to do it. Now, how's his racecraft? Can he pick his way through that enormous queue of cars in front of him? Tom Eden here defending busily from Chris Aubrey, the 2 yellow cars together. Chris Aubrey missing a rear wing, but that is a fairly common sight in Caterham racing. Looks to the outside at Luffield, not trying to go right round the outside there, but instead trying to tee up the exit from the corner and carry good speed across the start-finish line and use that slipstream we keep talking about. He's using it now to try and pull to the left-hand side of the road. He'll have the momentum down to Copp's corner, but the outside line, will it prevail through that very quick right-hander? Not too sure. Meanwhile, the race leaders are on their final lap of the race. We're on board with David Henderson here in second position, challenging Timothy Dickens for the race lead. Now, Timothy started at the front, but hasn't actually spent that much time at the front of this queue. He only needs to stay there, though, for another half lap to take the first victory of the season. David Henderson will have something to say about that, though. Looks to the outside line, and John Byrne goes to the inside of both of them. 3 abreast for the lead, and John Byrne does it. Fantastic move there from the man who started on pole position. Has he timed that move right, though? Because the rest of them have a chance now to get a run to the flag, but they may actually be holding each other up more than helping each other. Contact there between Henderson and Dickens. Henderson goes backwards, Dickens is held up, and I think that will hand it to John Byrne. Dickens is closing in the slipstream. There's going to be another really close finish, but John Byrne hangs on by 38/1000ths of a second. The battle's further back, raging right down to the flag as well. Rob Watts forced off the road there as he tried to gain positions right at the end, but John Byrne timed it beautifully to take the race victory from Timothy Dickens second, Aaron Head third, with William Smith and Jamie Falvey top 5, whilst Chris Hoy makes the top 10 in 8th.
It was far from simple. That was one of the toughest races I've ever had. Because there's so many long straights, everyone was just drafting each other down the straight. So I think we'll get a nice gap coming out in and out of a corner. I look behind me, and then 3 people will come flying past me down the straight. And it's like that every single lap of the race until the end.
It was a bit of a frenetic race, that's for sure. Yeah, so many good people in this championship that just being up the front means you're probably battling 8-9 people that got the opportunity to win. So it was busy. I looked down at my timer with 18 minutes to go and was wishing for the end of the race.
Well, remarkably, John Byrne won the second race by an even smaller margin, meaning he leads the championship, leaving Silverstone. Aaron Head is second, whilst David Henderson and Timothy Dickens are tied for third at this early stage. Well, a fantastic opening round of the Caterham Motorsport Championships here at Silverstone. Join us next time for more action.